Welcome back to another edition of the Vermont Voltage Power Update. I'm Leslie and I'll be your host. We're here with a Lady Voltage and Voltage player. Welcome, guys. Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourselves, just as an introduction? Starting with Jess.
And my name is Jess Molson, and I'm from Albany, New York. And I grew up in Albany. I came to Vermont when I played college for St. Mike's. And then I started playing for Voltage 3 years ago when we played our exhibition year, and the last, well, now 3 years that we've been in the W League. So,
What about you, Steve? Where are you from?
My name's Steve Hennessy. I'm from Essex Junction, Vermont. Grew up in Essex, lived there my whole life. I currently go to Western New England College. I'll be a senior there this fall.
Western New
That's
England.
basically it.
So when people come to the games, where can they find you on the field? What number are you? I know Steve's kind of easy to pick out. What about you, Jess?
I play defense. I'm number 7, so usually left back or in the central position.
As Leslie said, I'm the one in the blue jersey. I don't know which number it's going to be every night, but either number 1 or number 0.
As the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So both teams have kind of had a rocky start. Both are coming off good games. So can you give us a little bit of history of the season and what we can look forward to?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, I've actually only been back for about 2 weeks now. I just moved back home from London. So I came in, the girls have been having a bit of a time with getting players to come in and make the commitment this year. You struggle for games, you have different players you play with every game, and as we've spoke with Hutch before, our coach, and it's really hard when you're playing with people that you don't know their styles. You put balls to their feet or to space, and different people play in different ways, and just kind of getting used to personalities on the field and knowing and trusting one another. So we've been working on that, and I think we're 2-8 now, and we lost to Toronto on Saturday, but it was a pretty good team effort, and
Absolutely.
definitely people were happy with the way we played and finally starting to come together. So hopefully it'll be all up from here.
Definitely. What about you, Steve? Give us a little bit of background on the Voltage season.
Well, for us, it's pretty much been a struggle all season. Early on, we lost our first 2 games, gave up way too many goals. We came home, we thought that was going to give us some confidence. We tied Cape Cod at home and then lost to Long Island in a pretty good game. But then we went back on the road, a real long road trip, which kind of just, morale-wise, just kind of knocked us down. Then we came back home, which we were all excited for, and had another tough loss. But otherwise, it's been going all right. Guys are getting to know each other, having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few guys jump out on us, but other than that, it's been fun.
Now, Jess, you're a Voltage veteran, so you're playing with a young team. How does that work? I mean, you've got Chris Malcolm on your side and Amy Cochran, who have both been around for a while, but how is that working to adjust the team and kind of?
It's definitely different because we have a wide range of playing experiences. I mean, we have Lucky, who has played for the national team, and then we have girls who are in high school who've never seen that kind of competition. And I mean, just the step from high school to college is enormous. There's girls that have come back, and after a year of college, their game improves so much. But when you don't have that experience and you just have your high school competition, it's a hard adjustment for the girls. And trying to be, I guess, accommodating and more like empathetic with your teammates is hard sometimes when you're out there and you're losing and you just want to be doing well.
Right. And Steve, to you, you also have a very young team. I mean, most of the players are in their first year, minus Bo and Bo Simic, but how does that work with Bo, especially Bo as your coach and on the field too, so kind of adds an extra experience.
It is an experience because he's such an experienced player. He's played professionally in the major indoor soccer league. It's kind of a treat. You learn a lot from him and Simic as well. They both know what they're doing. It's always a good thing.
Absolutely. Now, both of you are facing off against Ottawa. The ladies haven't played Ottawa yet this year, but they kind of have you know what to expect. So give us a preview of Ottawa.
Ottawa is going to be a big game because sometimes we step up for the big games. We, 2 years ago, knocked Ottawa off. We actually beat them at their home turf, which was a huge thing, and they were in shock and not very happy with it. But you have to see what you can do. You just need to step on and take each game at the time.
Right, because the Lady Voltage, I mean, they beat the Laval Comets, and you also beat Rochester. So those are two big teams that are doing well in the division. I mean, Ottawa's leading the division, but
Definitely. Ottawa is going to be tough. They're always not even just at the top of our individual division for the teams, but also for the entire conference. They usually end up in the finals, if not winning it. So
yeah, absolutely. So it'll be a tough game.
it's going to be a big one. They have a lot of good players, a lot of girls who are on the Canadian national team, so it's always high intensity.
Be a great game. And Steve, the men have played Ottawa 3 times now,
Yep.
1-1-1. So what can we expect from Ottawa as a team?
Just what we did in the last game. They'll come out hard, hopefully not throwing a goal, but we'll see. But as long as we score first, maybe hopefully get a couple goals on them, I think we'll settle right down and hopefully gain some confidence going into the rest of the end of the season.
They're a hard, fast team, so it'll
Yeah.
definitely be another great match.
Athletic, very athletic.
That was the first one of the season, so that was great. So just talk to us a little bit about camps. I know, Jess, you're doing some camps, so how's it to work with the kids and kind of see them in the stands and things like that?
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, some of the kids, we had overnight camp last week, and there's kids that have been coming for the last 3 years, and just watching them grow up and develop as players and as people, because that's one of the great things about soccer. It's not just a game of skill and talent, but it's also your personalities you have, and just seeing everyone kind of come into their own. It's a great experience, and you get the same kids back every year, and then they bring their friends, and the Voltage really does a nice job with their commitment to the community, and I know we all do well, I think, with the kids.
Definitely. And Steve, growing up in Vermont, you were familiar with the Voltage, and talk to us a little bit about watching the Voltage play, and now you're on the field, now people are coming to you for autographs. So how was that, that whole change?
It's kind of bone chilling, I guess you can say. It's because I remember when they were first and they played at Essex, so it was local. And I remember going to games and having a good time, running on the field, wanting autographs. And now it's kind of cool because they're doing that to me now, and it makes me feel good, I guess.
Definitely. Kind of shows. Now, what advice would you give to young players? Yours might be a little different as a goalie, but young girls especially, I mean, soccer is rising so quickly. But what advice would you give to them?
I just love it. Just love being on the field and play for yourself, play for your teammates. Just have a good time, because if you just keep working at it and going for it, then you can burn out easily. You always have to love it.
Really?
And I'd say just play for yourself. There's no reason to play for your mom or your dad. If you love the game, then you just stay with it. I've played now for, I want to say, almost 18 years, and I loved every second of it.
Definitely. Now, growing up, did you have a favorite player that you looked up to? Or I know I had the Mia Hamm jerseys that I used to want to walk around the house with. But did you guys have players that you kind of looked up to and hope to be one day?
For me, Man United was always the best team, so they called him the Great Dane, Michael Schumacher. They're the goalkeeper, and he's probably the only one I know that he's the one.
Absolutely.
Definitely Christine Lilly. I mean, when I was in high school, that was when the U.S. women's team was just dominating the soccer scene nationally, internationally, and she's just an amazing player. And when I met her, I was completely awestruck.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And you get to play with Kristen. We've talked about her a little bit already, but just kind of, I mean, you've been with her for a while, but what kind of spirit, what kind of experience can she bring to the team? And just, she's another coach, right, you know?
She's also a very huge grounding force for me. She's one of the few people that I absolutely completely trust. It's so important to trust in your teammates, and her level of experience and her attitude and her commitment, they're just amazing, and it's really brought a centralizing force, I think, not only for me but for the other girls too, and I think that's what's helped keep a lot of the team together this far.
Definitely, definitely. Steve, has she given you any goalkeeper advice?
We actually haven't really had a good chance to talk that much. We talk about all the rainy weather that we've had and how much of a struggle it is to be a goalkeeper in that situation. But other than that, we really haven't talked too much about goalkeeping.
Yeah. Now, even though you're from Vermont initially, and Jess, you've been here for a couple of years, what is it like to play in Vermont versus in a different area? I mean, the community support, and how does that change things?
It's different for me because here you have the community. When you're playing at home, it's mostly, mine was in like youth clubs and ODP and that sort, but you had your parents around and everything. And here it's kind of the next big step. It's other people in the community coming in and wanting to watch you play and wanting to watch your autograph and not just wanting to give you a hug because they're your grandmother.
Yeah. It's a warm community, you would say.
And I'd say for me, well, playing in college it's playing with your friends, I guess. You're playing in front of your friends, and here, I mean, still since I'm local, there's still a lot of friends that come out and watch, but for the most part, like, you don't know anybody, and it's good that, I mean, growing up in high school, I was sort of a large name here, athletic-wise, and St. Albans didn't really have that great a tune with me, I want to say, because I was usually the guy on the other side beating them rather than
The rival.
I was the rival.
You were
so,
the rival.
Especially,
they didn't like you.
Yeah, so they didn't like me, but it's good now that, you know, they're kind of grasping me, I guess.
Yeah.
And my picture was on the St. Albans Messenger a couple weeks ago, and it's just kind of cool. I like it.
Definitely,
It's fun.
always fun to see your name in the paper. So we'll kind of wrap things up, but give us a forecast for the future. The ladies only have a couple more games left, but kind of what can we expect? They're tough games, but kind of.
I don't know, definitely, I think the game against Toronto gave us a lot more confidence, and we were playing with basically 10 players at one point, and then we had 11, but that was 9 field players and 2 goalkeepers, 1 goalkeeper playing forward. So just seeing that we could play that well together against a strong team, I think that's going to give us a bit of a confidence boost in going against these other teams. So crossing our fingers. All the best.
Definitely. What about you, Steve? The guys have a lot more games left.
We do have a lot of games left. I think a good goal for us to achieve is try to get back to the 500 mark. Right now, I believe we're 2-9-3, and if we could win at least, I want to say at least 5 of the next. I think we have 9 games left or something like that. That'd be great. Just to go out winners and just to give the community something to look forward to rather than us losing 6-0 every game.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us today. It was great to have you. This is it for another edition of the Vermont Voltage Power Update. Thanks for joining us.
Run it out of Burlington and have a full staff and salespeople and, make it a real team. Yeah. But that was 2 years ago when I said, get your books together because nobody can buy the business the way it is right now. Right. Good evening, Voltage fans, and welcome to tonight's fixture between your Vermont Voltage and the Rhode Island Stingrays. We're just getting started in the first half, 30 seconds into the game. Voltage pressing Rhode Island already. And in the booth with me tonight, none other than the very famous Scott Mosier, Essex High School coach and assistant coach from the Vermont Lady Voltage. Good evening, Scott.
Jamie, good to join you as always. We've got a big game coming up tonight between these two teams, longtime rivals, the Rhode Island Stingrays, up to visit the Vermont Voltage today on a overcast, light rain falling. Almost feels like a mid-fall day. Temperatures are down in the high 50s, and from a soccer perspective, it's great weather to be playing. The field's in super condition, and it'll be very comfortable out there from a playing perspective. Expect the ball to be moving fast as the ground is wet, but certainly no puddles or anything like that. So actually perfect conditions for soccer, and this should be one whale of a game. The Voltage coming off a victory on Wednesday night, and that was followed by a victory last Saturday. So they are in sync right now, Jamie.
Yeah, the Voltage is on a little bit of a roll, 2 victories in a row. Last week, FC Boston, 2-1 victory. And Wednesday night, a good showing against the Ottawa Fury, a 1-0 victory on a great direct shot from Bo Vučković, about 27 yards, through the wall into the side netting. A real bullet, and it was a great shot, great opportunity for the Voltage to move up in the standings and get some momentum going for tonight's game against the perennial power Rhode Island Stingrays.
Well, certainly great to see the Voltage back in their winning ways. And early on, I remember Vučković saying this was not going to be a team that came out of the blocks fast. There was just too many new guys, too many young players that had to work, train together, before they got into sync, and he was true to his word, and now they're in sync and already putting pressure on the Rhode Island Stingrays.
Another update for tonight's game is Bo Simic did miss the last 2 games. He had to go out of town on some personal business. Excuse me. And Bo is back in the lineup tonight, being the general in the, looks like a defensive midfield position at this point. But as you well know, he will move around the field at his leisure or at his determination as the game progresses.
Little funny side note on Bo Simic. I was out of town this past week, and I'm in the Burlington Airport crack of dawn on Sunday, and the person that's three people in front of me in line is none other than the general, Bo Simic. Not looking a little worse for wear, but jumped on his flight, and as he mentioned, he was down back in his hometown of Florida, our home state of Florida, hometown of Jacksonville.
Another side note, Stephen Hennessy, goalkeeper from Essex, Vermont, had another superlative game on Wednesday against the Ottawa Fury. He really kept the Voltage in the game with some key saves. As always, his distribution was exceptional, and he's really become an impressive goalie in this league. So I'm sure that he'll be looking forward to getting back to his college team. New England University, is that
Western
right?
New England,
Western New England. Yelovach from 35 yards. Solid strike, but a little high and considerably wide. So the goalkeeper for the Stingrays tonight is Peter Wise, wearing a 00, and he will have a goal kick.
And I will walk through the Voltage lineup while we have a second here. Bo Simic, of course, we mentioned him, number 10, the captain. Hennessy's in the nets. Justin Van Meter, number 4, playing again, one of the strong defensemen back there, along with Brian Leonard, number 5. Bozidar Yelovich is playing in the midfield, along with Bosco Kupach, number 18. And up front, you'll find Matt Stedman playing along with Tommy Skipiorski. And Marko Malovic, number 23, will be playing one of the outside midfielders. And along with Bo Vučković, of course, number 24. So that's the lineup for tonight. And you'll see people, those 11 out there. No promises they're going to stay where I just told you they are starting. They'll be moving around, especially Vučković and Simic. They'll tend to go where the flow of the game is and try to transition the ball back out.
Rhode Island looking a little tentative going forward in this first 5-10 minutes of the game, taking their time getting the ball out wide. Voltage defense shifting quite quickly. A little mix up there with Diallo, but the Voltage do well to get it out of bounds, and Hennessy with a goal kick. That's Stedman on the ball. Vučković trying to get it to Skipiorski. Unsuccessfully, in Rhode Island under some pressure from the Voltage. Simic pressing forward and causing the Rhode Island Stingrays to go backwards. And it's evident that Peter Wise, the Rhode Island goalkeeper, has a really poor goal kick and goal kick. Oh, nice back heel from Yelovach to Malovic, excuse me. Back to Peter Wise, the Rhode Island goalie, has yet to clear the ball to the bottom of his half-field circle on either a goal kick or a punt. So we'll have to keep our eye on that and see if the Voltage adjust.
Good call, Jamie, picking that up, and that is quite unusual, certainly in this league.
It is very unusual. You know, we've seen players, including Stephen Hennessy, put the ball from 18 to 18 on the first bounce, similar to what you see on television, Fox Soccer Channel, and the English Premier League. Just about every player in that league, every goalie in that league is putting the ball from 18 to 18 on one bounce. And most goalies in this league are the same way. So we'll keep our eye on Peter Wise.
Well, and there's also a female player that can just about match the top men, and that would, of course, be the Lady Voltage's own Kristen Luckenbill. She can certainly distribute the ball quite a distance.
Lucky is 9 out of 10 times she's kicking the ball from 18 to 18 as well. So that's very impressive in its own right.
Well, the Voltage have earned a corner kick here early in the game. Great scoring opportunity. We'll see what they do. And if 24 is in your screen, keep an eye on him. He's scored numerous goals on corner kicks, on some set plays that they run off these corner kicks. So we'll keep an eye on what happens here.
I think we'll see it. Malovich will run over the ball. Perhaps not. Simic goes right for the in-swinger to the near post. Cleared out by Rhode Island. Brian Leonard will chip it back in. Very nice chip. Oh, Stedman looked like he was on sides.
Boy, it certainly looked like he came back, didn't it? And
sure
got himself
did.
into
Brian
an outside
Leonard
position.
with a nice ball from the halfway point. I think Rhode Island is lucky to get that call.
Now, the interesting off these set plays, these two teams have played each other at least twice a year for as long as time goes back in the PDL. And these two organizations, unlike some others, have two of the more stable management and coaching folks that have been in place for that same amount of time. So the Voltage probably does have to switch it up a little bit on those set plays, because certainly the Rhode Island coaching staff is aware of what the Voltage do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Rhode Island's been in the year 1 year longer than the original Vermont Voltage. And I will say that we are good friends with Mario Pereira, the owner and coach of the Rhode Island Stingrays. So the battle for supremacy is always there, but we're friends off the field, and it's only 90 minutes twice a year that we really don't like each other that much. But once the game is over, we are definitely good friends off the field.
Well, and that's a nice thing, the mutual respect that goes on between these two organizations, as they are not only opponents, but they do play in the same league. They're both big supporters of soccer within their own communities, along with camps and interacting with kids and doing community service, all those type of things. Rhode Island has the same philosophy that the Voltage do, and they have the same impact in Rhode Island that the Voltage do here in the United States, or I should say in Vermont. Well, the United States as well. Who are we kidding?
Well, that is a good point. Rhode Island has an extensive camp business that they operate in the Providence area. Nice chip from Bosco on the far side, looking for Yelovach.
And speaking of the Voltage camps, there are still a number of weeks left. So if you're listening to this and you haven't got to camp yet, this would be a great time to sign up. And you can do that at www.vermontvoltage.com. Great opportunity to not only get some excellent coaching, but meet these players. The players are the ones that work in the camps, along with the Vermont Voltage coaching staff. So you have an opportunity to interact with some professional players, some people with some significant experience, to hone your skills for the upcoming fall season. Boy, the Voltage, Jamie, seem to be poised, working the ball out of the back, stringing lots of passes together.
Yeah, they are playing with quite a lot of confidence so far in this game, and I think it's a direct result of just getting 2 wins in a row. Helps to build up your confidence, and this is pretty close to the same lineup we've seen for the last 2 nights, with the exception of Simic back in the midfield. So I think that's been part of it. You know, it has taken quite a number of games for the Voltage to settle on their premier lineup, and I think this is pretty much it right here. And now that they have it, we expect to see some improved results for the remainder of the season. There are 5 or 6 games left in the month of August, And we will get the dates of those games to you here momentarily. But it's good to see the same lineup night in and night out, because then you know what to expect from the players. And I think they start to begin to know what their teammates expect from them as well.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. There's a lot of great runs that are being made off the ball, and that one by Yalovec is a great example of that.
Yalovec is so strong on the ball. You can see him get in the corner. He has a plan. He's not intimidated, physically strong, very good with the ball at his feet. Unfortunately, he lost it on that opportunity, but a great acquisition, Yalovec. Nice to see him fully recovered from his injury.
Yeah, he certainly got some quality time over the past 4 games. A couple of those coming as a reserve, but the last 3, I think this may be his 3rd game that he started.
Yes, it is his 3rd game in a row that he started. Marko Malovic, just an incredible amount of speed on the ball when he receives it, number 23. Vučković trying to get through to Skipiorski with a nice steal off of number 2 from the Stingrays. Yalovec staying on sides, and he crosses it, and Rhode Island lucky to clear that off the line.
What a great opportunity by the Voltage.
Skipiorski stealing that off of number 2, John Nolan from the Stingrays, right at the 18. Peter Wise with a very lame goal kick.
And you'll see Skipiorski under complete control, laid it off to the right to Yalovec, who took it down to the end line and crossed it nicely across the middle. Very dangerous situation. That could have easily been 1-0 Voltage.
Yeah, Voltage were unfortunate. Rhode Island did play well there when they got on the goal line, because there were 2 yellow shirts on the far post. Bosco trying to get through to Stedman on the far side. And that ball goes a little long. Peter Wise collects it.
But boy, I love the way the Voltage are pushing forward, and just they're in sync. They're like it's like watching as the season's progressed. It's like watching a puzzle being put together, and now it's almost a finished product.
Yeah, you can see the confidence in the back. Brian Leonard, who struggled for a few games in mid-season, now playing with quite a bit more confidence and keeping the back organized. Number 3, Derek Puerta, displaying the ball in the center of the defense for Rhode Island.
He misplayed that one, and maybe we give him a free camp to go to work on some of those skills. But in all seriousness, the ball, as we mentioned, the field is a little slick. Not slippery, but the ball is going to skip.
Yalovec trying to cross the ball, not quite getting it where he needed it. Rhode Island brings it forward through the midfield. Looks like the Voltage are picking and choosing where they're pressuring the ball on a fairly organized basis. Sometimes they're pressuring the ball high up, closer to the goalie. Other times they're letting Rhode Island cross the midfield before they put pressure on. We'll have to think about that a little bit to figure out what the philosophy is behind that. Maybe we'll see some tendencies that make it obvious to us here in a few minutes.
Well, so far they've been in perfect sync, and if they can continue to do that, it certainly keeps the Stingrays guessing as to where the pressure and when the pressure is going to come from.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It might be as simple as just trying to not be predictable and mix up how they are defending.
But we just watched Justin Van Meter, number 4 for the Voltage, who's been a solid defender all year long, win yet another head ball. I can't remember the last time he's lost a head ball situation.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever lost a head ball that I've seen. Stedman working hard to break up that play, and quickly the ball goes to the other side. Yalovec to Malovic, excuse me.
Consistent pressure by the Voltage so far has made this somewhat of a one-sided game at this point.
Yeah, Rhode Island is looking a little bit disorganized. Vučković and Stedman miscommunicating on that pass. Stedman getting called for that slight pull on the Rhode Island midfielder number 2 or defender, Nolan John, pulling on his shoulder. The referee correctly let the play go on to see how it would evolve. Rhode Island lost possession, and so he calls the foul. Some very good refereeing that we haven't seen a lot of here this summer at Collins Pearly. Yelovach with a nice lead ball from Bosco on the far side. Yelovach gets dumped over the goalie Peter Wise, and they both look a little bit sore.
Yeah, Yelovach following up hard on that through ball. It's a step away, and the way Wise came out, I don't think Yelovach was running right along with a Rhode Island defender. I don't think he really saw where the keeper was going to slide, and he was kind of blindsided by that hit. Certainly a fair play by everyone's estimation, but he did. Both of them had a collision, and looks like Yelovach's all right.
Yeah, he's up and walking back. Peter Wise looks a little gimpy, but he's going to stay in the game.
And interestingly, there's already a potential substitution by the Rhode Island Stingrays. Number 14, or number 16 is warming up on the side. And that, of course, is Richard Wolrila. He's warming up as, man, maybe there's an injury at this point. I don't know. Of course, the Rhode Island does have a game tomorrow. They will play Ottawa. They didn't travel with a lot of people to this game, and if there's someone with a slight injury, Mario Pereira may make a decision to take him out, take that player out. We'll see if we can get more information on that and pass it on to you.
Malovich with a nice steal, and then loses the ball directly at Diallo. Recovers, gets it to Skipiorski, trying to push it around. Diallo with a nice ball to Simic. Quickly out to Bosco. Kupac.
Of course, if you're watching your first game tonight, the Vermont Voltage play in the PDL League, the Premier Development League, one of 64 teams from around North America. And this is a league game. The Voltage play regular league games within the PDL. They also play a number of other games which are against some very competitive teams that will come in a couple weeks. You'll see a team from Montreal area come into play, which will be a very challenging night. We saw Boston FC, another non-conference game, if you will, come in here last week. And so a mix of different teams from throughout North America will make their way to this venerable stadium over the next couple of weeks, or next month, basically. There's about a month left of the season. So if you haven't had a chance to make it out to Collins Pearly, you still have time left. And if you go to the Vermont Voltage website, vermontvoltage.com, you can find out when those games are and make your reservations and head on into St. Albans for a great evening of entertainment and some great soccer, really the best soccer you're going to find in the Northeast.
Yeah, that's a good point, Scott. I think perhaps we don't mention quite enough how much of a good family value it is to come to a Voltage game. Tickets are reasonably priced. Tonight's crowd is a little sparse. It's been raining all day here in northern Vermont, so I think that's kept a few people home. Going to wait for the game to come out on your local cable station. But a great family atmosphere here. There's plenty of things to do. There's Sparky, the ever-popular mascot of the Voltage. There is food. There's soccer entertainment, quality soccer. Quite an atmosphere here at the Collins Pearly Sports Complex.
And let's not forget the multitude of merchandise that's available. And the nice thing is, after every home game, win, lose, or draw, the Voltage players do stay after. They meet with the kids, sign autographs on any of the Voltage paraphernalia. So really a nice setting, as you mentioned, Jamie.
Here we have a direct kick. Number 2. John Nolan scores off a deflection. Not a lot Stephen Hennessy could do about that shot.
Wow.
John Nolan put the ball in the right place, and an inadvertent deflection puts it past Hennessy into the top corner of the net. And just like that, the Rhode Island Stingrays, 23rd minute, are up 1-0 over your Vermont Voltage.
Holy camole, Jamie. Well, you've mentioned this a number of times during the season. It doesn't necessarily, the scoreboard will not reflect the play on the field. And that's certainly an example this early on that the Voltage have had the better of the play. Many opportunities. I'd argue that was the first opportunity for the Rhode Island Stingray, and they get a great break. That ball deflected off someone in the wall, so went the exact opposite direction that the ball was kicked. And of course, the goalie has zero chance, as you mentioned, on that.
Yeah, it's that's one of the interesting parts of these outdoor soccer games is you just never know what's going to happen. Part of the reason they call it the beautiful game.
Well, and we'll see if the strategy changes for Bo Vuckovic's Vermont Voltage. Now down a goal. The best news of the day is that the goal was scored fairly early on in the game. 23 minutes gone, so there's full half to go.
Here we go. The Voltage are going to have a direct kick from approximately the same distance, even closer perhaps. And no doubt Simic and Vuckovic will be over the ball here from 19 and a half, 20 yards. Looks to me like it's right in the middle of the field. And
well, it looks like they're going to ask for those 10 yards, which is certainly what I would do. And the referee complies, moves them back 10. That makes a big difference. As you saw, they were probably at about 6 yards.
And it'll be Vuckovic. Simic goes towards the wall.
Amy Cochran stopping by.
And there's another goal from Vuckovic. The same spot as Wednesday night, the side panel. The Big Cheese blasts it through the wall into the side paneling. Less than 1 minute later than the goal from Rhode Island. So I guess we know how the Voltage is going to react.
And the Cheese puts the hat on.
The Big Cheese gives out a mini ball to the crowd.
You never know what's going to come up next. The Big Cheese, of course, is nicknamed for years, and every now and then during the season, you'll see the cheese wedge make its way
the
to the top
Wisconsin
of his
cheese
head.
wedge comes out. 2 games in a row, another spectacular goal. Last 2 goals were basically exactly the same, except this ball might have been 12 inches lower than the ball Wednesday night that he put in the side netting from just about the exact same spot.
Wow, what an advantage that is for the Voltage. They've scored a number of key goals this season, offset plays, off the ball after a foul on the other team, and to have that type of weapon where, geez, I know you and I are sitting in the booth and thinking it's almost like a free throw in basketball when Vuckovic or Simic line up within 25 or 30 yards of the goal.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. It's a coach would like to think they would be able to control their players to not foul the Voltage within 30 yards of the goal. Of course, that's really not possible, but when the Voltage have the ball inside 30 yards on a set play, it is dangerous. There's no doubt about it.
Now here's a quick transition by the Stingrays. But Justin Van Meter, not too concerned, as he hasn't been too concerned about the opposition much this season. He's a very confident, very strong defender, and another example right there.
Yeah, Rhode Island kind of gave up on that ball with a poor play going forward. Easily taken away by the Voltage.
Well,
so here we are, 27 minutes into the game, tied 1-1. A typical Rhode Island and Vermont Voltage game.
Yeah, you get the feeling that this game will go down to the wire, and I would be shocked if there's not more scoring, as offensively minded as the Voltage have been so far. But here's a dangerous situation. Well defended by the Voltage.
Another nice ball from John Nolan, number 2, the defender who did score for Rhode Island. He seems to have some capability inside of 30 yards himself. Vučković with some quality skill right there, getting the ball over the midfield. Stedman goes out to Bosco. Malovic goes backwards. Simic brings it up, and there's Vučković on the very far side, if you can see it on your screen. Trying to get it through to Jelavic or Stedman.
And I don't know if you can pick up the talk on the field, but you'll hear Simic consistently barking out instructions, positional instructions for his team. And it appears when they listen, good things happen. And there's an example.
Bosco Kupac with a great pass from Tommy Skipiorski.
Well, I hate to sound like Nostradamus, but right there is what we were talking about. The Voltage high pressure offense. They come in and Bosco finds the back of the net off a great feed from Tommy Skipiorski. And with about 30 minutes left in the game, the Voltage have scored to make it 2-1. Bosco playing it up to the crowd. He's learned the American way pretty quickly. And tosses the ball into the crowd.
Interesting to think about, Scott, as we've watched most of the home games here at Collins Purley, is earlier on in the season that ball would not have gone into the net. There was a combination of bad luck we were talking about early on in the season, and just a lack of being able to finish that final pass. And the Voltage have come a long way. Skipiorski with great timing, and Bosco with the confidence to blast that ball underneath.
Sorry, I was a little bit.
Underneath the wings of Peter Wise. Not much Wise was going to do with that ball.
No, not from that distance. And you're absolutely right in how much more the composure that the Voltage have shown as the season's progressed. Skipiorski inside the 18, completely composed, and finds a Bosco running on at full tilt and puts it right on his foot.
Simic with another great steal. Skipiorski to Bosco. Same spot. And can he get it in? Oh, they clear it off the line.
Wow.
That looked like a replay of 30 seconds ago. Scott?
Yeah, not much angle by, was that Malovic or Bosco down there? I think it actually might have been Malovic. Not much of an angle for him to put it across the goal, but he certainly did. And if the Stingrays hadn't come back and covered with their defender, that would have been 3-1. Or excuse me, 3-1.
Jelavic receiving a nice ball.
Oh, what a
Vučković
pass.
on the top. And
Wow.
he just missing the far post.
Great pass by Jelavic.
Great ball across the top of the 18.
So to recap the scoring, Bo Vučković on the first goal on a direct kick from about 22 yards out. That was followed up by the goal by Bosco off the feed from Skipiorski. So now we sit at 2-1. Lots of action in this first half. It was a diving defensive play by John Nolan. He's certainly one of their stronger players out there on the pitch for Rhode Island. And I'll tell you, if he didn't make connection with that ball, that would have been big trouble. Vučka slipped on that one and allowed the defense to get an opportunity to come back and slow it down, but the Voltage retained the ball. And here comes Rhode Island's transition play.
Not Danny Ortiz, number 14, bringing the ball up. Brian Unger. Bosco Kupach coming down the middle. That's offsides.
Wow.
Yelovach just half a step offsides.
I don't know if the officiating staff got the memo that even is not considered off anymore. Because that certainly looked about as even as you could be.
It was definitely close.
Even as the number 2.
Van Mater.
Well, there's a shocker. Van Mater won a head ball. Stop the presses. Yeah, I'm sure if they kept that statistic, 1 head balls, that Van Mater would be leading the PDL. He might be leading the whole world, for that matter.
Stedman coming in hard and fast. And he gets away with it. Rhode Island just really struggling to get the ball over midfield. If you were just coming into this game, you'd be surprised that how did they ever score a goal against this team? But you know, that's just what happens in this game. Rhode Island will not give up. I can guarantee you that. They'll be playing hard right to the 90th minute.
Yeah, let's not forget that there is a lot of time left in this game, and there's a lot of pride that's going to be on that field. And have been very impressed with how the Voltage, being down a goal, quickly turned it around and now continue to keep the pressure on and really play as a team, getting all 10 people involved, field players involved.
It looks like Marko Malovic is coming up a little lame. He's limping out there. We'll see if the Voltage make a change.
Yeah, it looked like he was grabbing his quadricep.
Could be a Charlie horse. I wonder if they call it Charlie horse in Serbia. What do you think, Scott?
It's possible.
Would they have another name for it?
Well, I think that's going to be one of our challenges to find out maybe during halftime. We'll go down and talk to Marco and find out what it is, or we'll make something up and tell that to either one of the two. But we will keep an eye on him the rest of the first half and see if his stride improves. He's a guy that counts on those 2 feet. He's one of the faster players in the league. And as you've mentioned many times, with and without the ball. And that's not always the same.
Right. He is seemingly as fast with the ball as he is without the ball, which is not an easy thing to accomplish. Rhode Island just dribbling the ball out of bounds there on the far side. Mario Pereira must be a little bit frustrated at this point. Yelovach receiving a great ball from across field. And he's on his feet. Gives it to Skipiorski, who goes across, trying to get it to Stedman. All the Voltage working hard up front.
About 10 minutes to go here in this first half, and Voltage continue to put the pressure on. And that's Vučković taken down.
Number 22, John Nolan, number 2, John Nolan, has really been keeping Rhode Island in this game at his left back spot.
Vučković taken down from behind, and this is going to present another quick
Rhode
opportunity.
Island caught with their pants down here. Great quick ball to Skipiorski. Rhode Island talking about just trying to slow the play down, standing over the ball. Simic, seeing the advantage, plays it quickly to Skipiorski. And Skipiorski quickly into the danger zone.
And he earned a corner kick for the Voltage, and that'll be Simic, of course, that puts the corner kick into the play. Sully, what is he doing that far downfield? He hasn't been that far down all season. That'll turn into another corner kick. You're perfect right where you are. Sully retreats a little bit. Number 22, the international player, Thierno Diallo. It's rare he gets that far upfield as a defender. I think maybe Coach Vučković saw him and sent him back to his spot because he is playing back.
Simic slips on the corner, doesn't get it executed the way he had intended. That'll be a Rhode Island throw-in.
Of course, Thierno Diallo, one of the more recognizable players on the Voltage. He's been with the organization for 5 seasons. and a colorful player who is not only one of the favorites among his own teammates, but certainly amongst the crowd and the community and the kids.
Yeah, Tierno Diallo does a great job at the camps, really connects with the kids. And after the games here, Tierno probably signs as many autographs as anybody on the team because of his connection with the kids who come out game nights that have just been in the camps. So a testament to his dedication to the community and to the sport, and as well as the Voltage being here 5 years is quite a testament to his dedication to the team.
Voltage continue to put the pressure on
Peter
Rhode Island.
Peter Wise struggling to get the ball out of his own goal area. Simic with a
Wow,
nice outside
what a
of the
ball.
football to Bosko Kupac on the far side. Gets it across. And
Boy, it's
there's,
like poetry in motion out there at times for the Voltage.
Simic with a great outside of the football over the top to Bosko. Just unlucky on the cross. Van Mater breaking up the play.
Diallo in that defensive role forces the early pass. There's Nolan. Diallo says, "Not in my house." Deflects that one back, lets the Voltage come down and set up.
That's the first time Rhode Island's been over the midfield with control of the ball since I can remember in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, the Voltage have done a great job pressuring at that midfield line, and that's where the takeaways have occurred and have created the transition for all the outstanding opportunities here in this first half of play. Hennessy has had a relatively quiet night back there, which I'm sure he's more than happy with.
Ryan Unger, number 14, putting that ball on the outside of the side netting, much to the dismay of his teammates who are waiting for a cross in the box inside 6 yards.
There is still space available in the remaining Voltage summer camps around Vermont. Voltage summer soccer camps are great.
Hennessy will pop this into play. 60, 70-yard kickoff field.
You see how that ball is going to clear the far midfield circle.
You can also go to VermontVoltage.com for more camp information. Also, be sure to check out the concession stand to the right of this stand.
Diallo to Sipiorski, to Simic, back to Sipiorski, back to Simic.
Long ball across to Bosko. Not quite there, but he was able to steal it. Maintain possession.
Simic went around that guy like a cone.
Nice ball. Oh, just a great idea there, Simic. If he had another 3 inches on that ball, it would have been through to Skipiorski. Number 8, Jonathan Pereira, the son of Coach Mario Pereira. I'm wondering if that's his first touches on the ball this half.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him.
Stedman taken down from behind.
And there's no call on that. Now there's a surprise. Hammered from behind, obviously got hit in the ankle area, which certainly hurts. And they're going to play the ball out of bounds. And he may need some medical attention. Matt Stedman, one of the top university players, comes out of Niagara University, where he's been their leading scorer and all-conference player, integral part, a captain of Niagara's team, along with you'll see a couple of other players we'll mention tonight that also come from Niagara. But Stedman's been a steady force here for the last 2 years. And the good news is he's back on his feet. The trainer went out there, gave him some of that magic spray, and he's up back on his feet, although he is limping. And I wouldn't be surprised if we may see some Voltage reserves potentially warming up. before long. We'll certainly see that at halftime.
We have about 3 minutes left in this half, plus stoppage time, which I don't think there'll be a lot of, maybe one, at the most 2 minutes. And we'll see how focused the Voltage are in the final 3 minutes. See if we can add to the score.
Well,
sorry, Scott.
Oh,
Malovich
no
getting
problem.
a little too fancy there in the middle of the park.
I was going to say well, let's see what this turns into first. Stingrays in a transition. This could be trouble. Looks like the Voltage have got back. They've got numbers behind the ball, always a good sign. And very composed again as they play the ball out of trouble. Well, they call this the Premier Development League, and that's certainly what it's been for a number of the Voltage players. Players like our goal scorer, Bosco, who's developed into quite a fine field player this year.
Yeah, Bosco Kupac coming here from Croatia, has earned a college scholarship, I think at the University of Albany. And he's looking to be back here next summer with the Voltage as part of his agreement with the Voltage, who helped him earn his scholarship. And we look to see Bosco again next summer.
Yeah, he's really acclimated well to the United States and Vermont in particular. And he'll actually be going to the University of the Cumberlands, which is down in Tennessee, I believe, and a very strong Division II teams. You'll find in soccer at the college level that being in Division I doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in a stronger team than if you play in a lower division. They are very strong teams in Division II as well as Division III. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Middlebury Panthers as one of the top prominent Division III teams, which my cohort, Jamie, attended.
That was several decades ago. So many I can't even remember how many decades ago, when soccer was a very different sport in this country than it is now. But yes, certainly Middlebury, through the hard work of Dave Sayward, who a coach there, has been Vučković on the top of the box there on his premier foot, the right foot. Usually I think we'd see that one rattle off the post and in, but back to Dave Sayward, one of the preeminent Division III college coaches in the country. Probably one of the preeminent college coaches in the country, no matter what division you're looking at. Always successful. I don't think he's ever had a losing season at Middlebury, which is just unheard of. No scholarships whatsoever. But you make a good point, Scott, that quality Division II teams can certainly play on the same field with quality Division I teams in this country.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
To take it one step further, Bosco Kupac is going to be a quality player on any college team in this country, no matter what name the school has, Division I, II, or III. I could say that without hesitation.
Well, we are in stoppage time at this point.
I could say that we could say the same about Marko Malovic and Jankovic as well as Bozidar Jelavac.
Yeah, those are three great young players that are going to be entering their freshman year. Of course, the other player on the Voltage that's in that same position who's out with an injury tonight is a local Vermont player, Ethan Morrow.
And that's the end of the half, Scott. Let's take a break. We'll get back to Ethan Morrow when we start up the second half.
Absolutely, great half.
Yeah, it was a great half. Vermont Voltage 2 and the Rhode Island Stingrays 1. Take a break. We'll be right back.
Well, we are back here for the exciting second half, about to get underway, and they've kicked it off from the center line, and we are underway. Rhode Island Stingrays against your own Vermont Voltage, and the first half ended with a 2-1 lead by the Vermont Voltage on goals by Bo Vučković and Bosco Kupach to make it 2. The goal for the Stingrays scored by number 2, who's John Nolan. And that's been the scoring for the first half, with interesting to see the second half on what unfolds as Voltage have started with the same lineup.
It does look like Rhode Island has made a change. Number 6, Josh Ford, has come in. Looks like up front for the Stingrays. Just to give you a reminder, the Voltage was definitely dominating the first half, dominating play, and Rhode Island was struggling just to get the ball over the midfield into their own offensive half. So we'll see how the second half unfolds here.
But you'd say already the Stingrays have gained more ground than they did almost the entire first half.
Yeah, they've been holding the ball here for the first minute and a half so far, the second half. And maybe the Voltage just need a minute or two to get reset with their formation and their shape. Quite a bit of room in the midfield. The Voltage seem to be pressuring a little bit farther down in the field than even in the first half.
Yeah, and of course that pressure is what led to really both goals. Pressure, turnovers, transition down, in one case a foul right outside of the 18, which Vučković buried for the goal. And the second one, a great pass by Tommy Skipiorski, who found the left foot of Bosco Kupach. So that high-pressure defense that the Voltage employed in the first half really did pay off. And as we talked about it in the first half, they were not predictable. They changed the points of pressure, and that seemed to throw Rhode Island off.
Yeah, the Voltage did a very good job of mixing up where they were pressuring the ball as a team, and it definitely had an effect on Rhode Island. Remember,
double slip.
It did rain in St. Albans most of the day today, so the field is soaked. No standing puddles, but certainly it is wet all over and slick, so no one will be surprised when we see players slipping. Marko Malovic. Jelovac putting pressure on the goalie. Peter Wise struggling to clear the ball. Vučković takes a long one as Peter Wise was way out of his box. Vučković mishit that slightly. I want to see one of those goals one time.
Well, you almost saw it there. Vučković hits it cleanly. That would have been a goal.
Yeah, Peter Wise was way out of his box, way off his line. And his foot play on the ball, I hate to say it, but it's the worst I've ever seen in this league. That ball, he cleared it. It stayed on the ground for 40 yards before it was intercepted. That, to me, is really not a clearance. So that was a pass to the other team is what it ended up being.
Well, the Voltage will substitute at some point in the near future, as Milos Jankovic, who will be going to the University of Albany, is warming up as we speak, and he will be entering this game, I would assume. His warm-ups are off. He warmed up vigorously throughout halftime to get his heart rate up and break a sweat. And typically you're not going to do that unless the coach has given you direction that in the very near future you are going to be entering this game.
Question is, who do you think he'll be going in for? He's primarily been playing in the midfield this summer.
I'm going to guess Marko Malovic. Marko, who has the ball right now, I was going to say was not at full speed in the first half, but he seems to be going at full speed now.
Yeah, he did get a little bit of a knock in the first half. And just played 3 very nice balls. Through to the middle. Bosco with a nice ball to Yelovach. Back to Bosco.
Oh, and he changes fields to Skipiorski.
Skipiorski trying to set himself up for a shot. And looks like the Voltage could have let that one go a little bit sooner, sort of overpassing in the offensive third.
But what a beautiful thing to see, to string that many passes together and that much confidence in each other to continually lay the ball off. And Stingrays will not be able to sustain this type of offensive attack without giving up a goal. If the Voltage can keep this type of pressure and continuity in the second half, it will end with a goal, I'll guarantee you.
Yeah, Malovich is just really on the ball here in the second half with his skill. Exceptional vision for someone who plays as fast as he does. Really making good selections with where he's placing the ball and following through with high level of skill. Bosco. Just as we say that, Malovich tackles Josh Ford in an American football manner and holds him down as Bosco Kupac is trying to go forward with the ball. And finally we get the whistle, but some quality refereeing there, as the referee has the patience to wait to see if Rhode Island ends up with advantage with or without the foul.
Malovich is going to the University of Texas, so maybe we're going to see him in the football pads as well. He's certainly certainly learned how to take someone down.
I'm not sure he even knows where Texas is at this point in his
well, it took him a little while
career.
to get acclimated.
Hennessy with a nice throw out to Skipiorski. Vučković to Stedman. And,
Coming.
Miscommunication there. Stolen by the Stingrays.
Malovich coming directly from Belgrade, Serbia to Vermont. I think heading down to Texas will be a little bit of a culture shock. Come midway August when he departs, where he'll be playing down there on a full scholarship. And hopefully back here next summer.
Yeah, I think that's the plan, that the 3 Serbians and 1 Croatian will be back here again next summer, playing for next summer's version of the Voltage.
Well, that bodes good news for the Voltage fans, as each of the players has made an impact as this season's progressed. And to have 4 quality players like that come back next year with another year's worth of experience under their belt, that is good news. Good news for Voltage fans.
Simic with another patented cross-field, full cross-field cross right to Thomas Skipiorski. We spoke about that a couple weeks ago, Scott. I think about the quality, the amount of practice it takes to be able to control your crosses consistently with that much accuracy.
Yeah, that is one of the significant differences between high school level play and actually most college level play and more professional play that you see out of someone like Vučković or Simic, Tommy Skipiorski. Some of these guys that have played at major colleges have done quite well and have then extended their careers professionally, either here in the United States or overseas. And that long timed cross where you hit a guy 40 yards on a dead run is not something you just pick up by playing a little soccer here and there.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it's worth mentioning again that the way that you get to a point where you can consistently cross the ball with skill and accuracy is repetition. And the Yelovach just crushed by number 21. He looks sore. We'll see if he can get up as play continues. Stedman battling in the corner. And the ball goes out of play.
Well,
So-
Yalovich, that was a hard tackle, and I'm concerned about the knee because it looked like his leg twisted, and this is not a bruise type of injury. And Yalovich, of course, just came back from being hurt. And we'll have to see the replay on that. He's not happy at all. That was a hard tackle, was taken down, and a player with this much potential, you just hate to see it. Hopefully it's not a knee injury. You know, the good news will be that inside of the knee is a very tender spot, and if you get kicked there, it can hurt like heck and end up being just a bad bruise.
And he's back on the field,
Wow.
so there's some good news as he walks off the pain.
That's some good news, and maybe that's what it was. Let's hope that's the case. And we'll certainly keep an eye on number 7, Yalovich, as this game progresses, and see if there's any long-term impact from that hit. Hopefully just a little black and blue tomorrow.
Getting back to the point I was trying to make about the repetition of developing quality crosses. The repetition involved and the amount of work, we're talking millions of repetitions, not 10 or 12. You need to have, you know, if you're out training on your own in your backyard or at your high school field, we're talking about a half an hour, which could be anywhere from 50 to 60 crosses, 5 days a week for anywhere from 4 to 5 years. And that's the kind of repetition we're talking about, approaching the millions of repetitions to develop enough quality to be an effective professional.
Well, and that's what these players wanted to be as they were growing up, and you know, players like Simic and Vučković, Skipiorski, three just off the top of my head that have played professionally, both here and overseas, and they made that type of commitment. While others might have been going out on a Friday night or hanging out playing video games or something else, these guys were kicking the ball and kicking the ball and kicking the ball and pushing themselves, and they're the few, the proud, that can say they played professional soccer. And Jamie, you're in that category yourself.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, for me, it was a long time ago. Certainly the American game has changed considerably since I was an effective soccer player. But I definitely spent my time. I trained somewhere between 300 and 310 days a year, every year for 6 years in a row, for an hour and 15 minutes or more. Just juggling, passing against a kickboard, and pickup games down in the Dartmouth College, Hanover, New Hampshire area. And I did, was able to develop some skills and get signed by a couple professional teams. And I can guarantee you, without that time that I put in on the ball, I wouldn't have been even close. So there's a lot more reward out there these days for American professionals. It is an attainable and a reachable goal to make money in the United States now as a soccer professional. So if any of you are out there on the verge of committing yourself to it, there is light at the end of the tunnel in terms of making a living. And Vermont Voltage and the PDL is a good step on the path to that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, it sure is. A number of players that have played for the Voltage have gone on to play professionally overseas, and it was exactly that for them, a development league that honed their skills and got them in front of numerous agents and scouts and put them at the professional level. And that substitution that we were thinking was going to be made has just been made. Milos Yankovic comes in, number 17, and he replaces his countryman, Mr. Marko Malovic, who takes a seat. So interesting that Jalovic appears, number 7, Jalovic for the Voltage appears to be fine, and probably a little black and blue tomorrow, and that'll be it, because that substitution could have been for him, but they chose to make a different selection, and it'll be interesting to see. Now we've got some fresh legs in there, but we were missing some fast legs that have just stepped out.
I think Malovic probably got a knock in the first half, and he didn't want to risk getting more hurt. And Vučković decided to take him off and give him a rest for the second half. Tierno Diallo making an acrobatic clearance directly out of bounds. Not sure why he thought that was necessary, as there was no pressure on him when the ball came his direction.
Without their continuous support, Voltage would not exist. Please support those who support us. If you are interested in Voltage sponsorship, please call the Voltage office at 999-6303.
Yankovic trying to get a touch on the ball where he has time and space to gain confidence.
Well, the rumor is, Jamie, I believe potentially as early as next game, the Voltage will bring on one of their top scorers from last year, who hasn't seen any action yet so far, and that's the one and only Erie.
Erie Soon.
Young Erie Soon.
I have not heard that rumor. I'm not surprised to hear it, but I will only believe it when I see it. Vučković with a nice ball all the way across the field to Simic.
Oh, what a
Through
pass.
ball to Vučković, and that's going to be a beautiful goal.
Are you kidding me?
And Vučković.
Holy mackerel, what a goal.
Great vision, great technique from Simic, and a very experienced run from Vučković to continue towards the goal.
That's number 2 for the Big Cheese. Number 2 for Cheese.
Considerable crowd has poured into Collins Purley, and the Big Cheese tosses another free ball
Cheese scores and
into the crowd.
does what he does best, and that's excite people. And he certainly has done it tonight.
I mean,
But
that's
holy camole, what a pass from Bo Simic.
if you think about it, the ball originally came from Vučković on the far side of the field. He's had vision enough to put it all the way across to Simic, who was wide open on the left wing. And then Simic and Vučković then continues his run all the way through to the goal area, where Simic is able to thread the needle through 2 Rhode Island defenders, and a little flick of his toe.
It's a very, very unselfish play by Simic. He was at the 18. He certainly could have pulled the trigger himself, and is quite deadly from that range.
Yes.
But Simic, that may be the pass of the year.
It could very well be. That was very impressive.
And that takes the Voltage to a 3-1 lead here.
Stedman with a nice pass to Jalovac. Vučković is running through the middle.
Oh, and another
there
one.
It goes, number 3. In a matter of 1 minute, Vučković puts in 2 goals. Jalovac with a nice centering pass to Vučković,
Holy mackerel.
and he just drives it past the post. And all of a sudden, Vermont Voltage is 4, and Rhode Island Stingrays are 1.
Wow.
That was impressive.
2 goals within a minute, maybe, minute and a half. Vučković didn't even have a chance to really catch his breath. And he finds the back of the net again. A natural hat trick. Well, I couldn't call it natural. Anything that Vučković does is not natural to most people.
That was a nice goal. A nice series of goals. Looks like number 16, Richard Wizarebe from the Stingrays is coming in. Coming off, number 14, Ryan Unger, who's had a respectable evening. Certainly pulling his weight out there in the midfield for the Stingrays. So we'll see how the Stingrays react to these quick bombardment by the Voltage.
Yeah, if you're the coach now of the Stingrays, you've really got an uphill battle. At one point, 2-1 at halftime. You can get your team motivated to come back in, work to get the tying goal. Lots of time to do it. But the Voltage scoring 2 in the first 15 minutes of the second half have burst that bubble. And now they've got Mount Everest to try to get up.
And on top of that, to make it worse, the Voltage are motivated to get more. It's not like they're going to back off and just leave it at 4. Every one of these players wants to get their name on the score sheet.
Well, they have been on the short end of a game earlier this season. Very early on in the season, they played these same Rhode Island Stingrays down in the Providence area, and wow, that's what we're talking about right there. 45 yards right on his foot. They go back. They were playing these Stingrays earlier on, and this is a dangerous situation. And that's going to be Skipiorsky. Tommy Skipiorsky gets number 5. And Nostradamus Hutchins, sitting next to me, called that one that the Vultures were not going to let up at 4. And Skipiorsky finds the back of the net very calmly and collectively and confidently.
Very nice pass from Matt Stedman, square across in the box. Skipiorsky was able to push it over the goalie and into the back of the net.
So that makes it 5-1.
There'll be some substitutions.
Skipiorsky's going to look for his mom.
He throws it out of the stadium.
Skipiorsky doesn't know his own strength.
And so we're at 5 here at Collins Purley Sports Complex.
He just threw that ball into the upper deck here at the stadium. Holy mackerel. Well, with all the mayhem with that 5th goal being scored and Skipiorsky throwing a shot, putting the ball into the crowd, very calmly Bo Vučković took himself out of the game after 3 goals and gave way to Jonathan Williams, number 14, who's in the game for the Voltage, replacing Vučković. Well, why not? You've scored 3 goals. You've excited the crowd beyond belief. Why not take yourself out? Let
I think it's a good
another
move.
player in.
However impressive Vučković has been tonight, it is good for him to take at least half a night off and get some rest. All the little nagging injuries that you end up with after playing a tough 90 minutes. You don't quite recover nearly as quickly as you did when you were. They're coming right off is Tierno Diallo. Going on, number 16, Ben Wells, another Vermonter.
Yeah, Ben Wells out of Morrisville, Vermont, played at People's Academy, his high school ball, and is now playing at Western New England College, where Steve Hennessy, the goalie, plays. So Tierno Diallo comes out to a roaring crowd here. The crowd's certainly not the largest of the season with all this inclement weather we've had today, but a hearty crowd and an enthusiastic crowd, and they've been able to watch an incredible show here tonight. So far, the Voltage have scored 5, and its score remains 5-1.
And we're coming into the 70th minute of play here, and I think I would place money on the fact that I don't think the scoring is over yet this evening.
No, the Voltage really have had their way.
Yelovach battling to get the ball to Stedman, and he does. Stedman holds it up, looking for help.
Somehow gets the cross off.
Oh, and just missed. Who is that on the far side? Is that Yankovic? On the far side?
I'm trying to pick it up, Jamie. And
Does look like Yankovic coming back.
Yeah, I think it was Yankovic. Tough.
Coming off,
attempt.
Bozidar Jelivac, and coming on, Steve Kabul.
So good news for Jelivac. Played a great game, comes off, seems to be walking fine. Probably put some ice on that leg right now because you could tell looking down there on the bench, still bothering him, but wasn't that horrific potential leg injury, especially the knee. So that's good news all around.
And Mater coming forward. The nice ball to Kabul. And unfortunately for Rhode Island, as all these substitutions come in for the Voltage, the speed of play will pick up for the next 10 minutes as they all have fresh legs. Rhode Island, with a fairly thin bench tonight, will really be getting more affected by the length of the game and the lack of energy in their legs. Bosco comes off. Who went on there?
That was Gavin McLeod, number 2. We haven't seen him in the lineups fighting off injuries basically the entire season. So I'm sure he's happy and will cherish every moment he's out on the pitch this afternoon or this evening.
Looks like McLeod is going to be playing left midfield, perhaps left back. Looks like he's sliding up into a midfield spot. Yankovic battling himself into a yellow card on the far side.
Well, that was, as often happens, he got hit pretty hard and gave a return hit, and that's the one the official picked up. So I do believe the foul was originally called on the Stingrays, which would mean the Voltage will have a free kick here from the midfield line.
Another great call by the referee. I have not seen this referee here in Vermont before. Doing an admirable job.
Does that have anything to do with the fact that he's calling good? Maybe he's not from Vermont.
I would say that he's not from Vermont because neither you or I have seen him before. But he's doing an exemplary job here.
Yeah, and he'll need to continue to, because oftentimes when a game is this much of a blowout as it is at 5-1, things have a tendency to get a little chippy from the opposition. If you're down this many goals after you've taken a long bus ride probably all day in the rain to come here and get your butt kicked, you're typically not that happy. And the bad news for Rhode Island, of course, they play tomorrow night against Ottawa.
Yeah, they're driving tonight after this game up to Ottawa, 3.5 hours, and play again tomorrow at 3:30 in the afternoon with a slightly depleted roster and tired legs from tonight's game.
Well, just an example of the closeness of these two organizations and the relationship. Vučković, who lit him up for 3 goals, took himself out, and he's actually down sitting with Mario, the coach of the Stingray, as we speak. And that's, I'd say I'd be hard-pressed to think of any other time in my days of watching soccer, playing soccer, or coaching soccer where you'll see 2 coaches sitting next to each other talking about the game during the game. Just doesn't happen, and it's just a tribute to the relationship between the 2 organizations.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I think, you know, the reality of the game is that from the sidelines, you're really not going to affect the game that much. The game is determined by the players on the field, and my experience particularly with American coaches in Vermont, which is where I have most of my experience lately, is they take themselves way too seriously and would find that type of action with Bo sitting on the bench with Mario Pereira, a quality coach, former quality player, and you know, certainly a good friend. I think that they would look down upon that, but neither one of these guys. Bo takes himself very seriously. Mario is a little bit more mellow, more relaxed personality, and it's great to see what you're just describing, Bo and Mario talking about the game. During the game on Mario's bench. You know, Mario's going through a tough season. They're getting shelled right now.
Wow, what a
And
great attempt there, huh?
Almost at another goal. But Bo's been in the same position. You know, the Voltage has struggled this year a little bit. Been on the wrong end of some tough scores. And so we all know what it's like to be going through what Rhode Island is going through right now.
Seamich wins that one. Wow, I was just about to exclaim with some level of shock that Van Mater just got beat, but he recovered quick enough and took the ball away. So that momentous moment of surprise will.
I'm not sure that counts if he can recover quick enough to win the ball again.
You got to count it. The guy never even made any forward progress. So the game remains 5-1. Some fresh faces, fresh legs out there for the Voltage to play the last 15 minutes of this game. That's Gavin McLeod on the ball. Great to see him back between the white lines. He's certainly a crowd favorite here, a teammate favorite as well amongst the players. Of course, he hails from Scotland and also plays at Niagara University, where he's a teammate of Matt Stedman. And I know it's been absolutely killing him to be spending most of the summer in rehabbing the injuries that he's had.
Stedman with a great turn.
Wow, what a great pass.
And a great through ball to Stephen Kabul, who just can't get it inside the post. Stedman definitely has that sixth gear. You know, he looks like he's going to get beat, and somehow he gets a toe in there just to get by the defender. And then you blink your eyes, and he's 3 yards by the defender. He really has that next gear that is what's necessary to move up to a higher level as a striker.
Yeah, and when he finishes up his college play, potentially one more season here at the Voltage, and then would not be shocked to see him continue his career at some level, most likely here in the United States. Maybe with a first division team as a stepping stone to the MLS.
Matt Stedman did graduate this spring, so he is available to turn professional, which I would not be surprised to see him in a Division II or Division I side next summer.
And playing in the Premier Development League this year, that's where he'll get recognized and noticed, as almost every game that I've been to, either home or away, you will find a number of scouts in the stands watching, trying to pick up that next potential U.S. star that may have slipped through the cracks in the past. And you and I both have seen that situation with Vermont Voltage players as well as some of our competitors.
Yep, it's has proven to be the proving ground for development of professional players, and most of these guys, when they graduate from college, will get a look or several tryouts with some Division II, Division I teams in the USL, which is really a nationwide network of teams that has evolved over the last 20 years. And the interesting thing about the USL is that because it's been around for 20 years, the rest of the world has started to take notice that these teams are great places for foreign, European in particular, clubs to invest their money and bring their own players here or develop American players to take back to their European club and be productive at a very high level professional caliber. For instance, Crystal Palace has bought a Division II team that plays out of the Baltimore area. First Division Spanish side called Alaves, Alaves, has bought a Division I team that plays in the San Francisco Bay Area. They've got 4 or 5 Spanish players on the team, and the rest is filled out by Americans, and it's been great exposure for those players. Direct connection to a Division I team in one of the strongest leagues in the world, La Liga in Spain. And there's rumors of other teams purchasing other franchises throughout the United States. So it's a pretty exciting time for the USL right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the preeminent Dutch side, Ajax, has made a fairly significant entry into the United States market as well, with a academy that I believe is in Florida and is producing a number of top youth players.
Yeah, the Ajax program has purchased a PDL franchise that they play out of Orlando, Florida. And they have a very strong club base in Orlando that is trained by Ajax professional coaches who have been moved to the Florida area. And it's been a pretty impressive growth spurt for the USL.
Well, look who we're joined by in the booth. None other than the Big Cheese himself, who
Big
lit it up
Cheese
tonight.
Himself, who lit the ground on fire tonight with 3. That's 3, count all 3, hat trick. Bo, give us your comment on tonight's game and how you're feeling about the Voltage and this season.
First of all, good evening, everybody, all Voltage viewer, million and more. I just wanted to say, to all our fans, first, they've been sticking with us all season. They've been great support. Even on today, rainy days, fans came to support our team. So very, very happy about that. Regarding the season, it's been up and down. This year was rebuilding year for our team. A lot of new faces. We have a lot of young players. And as I said, it's a rebuilding year. We got a little bit on the road, unexperienced, lack of playing in the PDL league, understanding of opponents and stuff. We were in the games, a lot of games, and then concentration against big teams like Brooklyn, Long Island, Cape Cod cost us in the beginning of the season. But I think that guys came together around, and this was our 3rd win in a row at home. And at home we are above 500 right now, so which is always good at home, and that is what we want. But as I said, support from our fans always give us that extra lift. As I said, rebuilding year, a lot of guys are going to be back next year, a lot of freshmen, sophomores who are going back to college, and they already express enthusiasm to be back, so I'm looking forward to the upcoming season. Regarding the game tonight, after coming, letting a score in the first half, deflection, the free kick, the guys stick together and they came back and we tied the game, and then in the second half we came really fired up to play, and the point was to keep the possession, switch the point of attack and explore their weaknesses in the zone defense and find those holes and slide the ball to our fast forwards, which worked. So very happy with the performance tonight.
Well, it certainly worked like a charm. 5-1 at this point. We saw you down on the bench with Mario Pereira, and we were just citing how unusual it was to see 2 coaches down on the bench.
And again, that explores
Kabul.
that hole that we talked about, yeah. So that was again opportunity, in their zone defense. We tried to slide the ball between the central defender and left or right defenders, and it kind of works tonight.
Yeah, the game plan has worked well. What were you and Mario talking about down on the sidelines?
Mario and I and Jamie Hutchins, we are pretty good friends. We are the league meetings and all meetings and stuff. We always meet and we go out for dinner together, lunch together, and we just talked about the game and about some players and upcoming season, and just chit chat a little bit. And he congratulated me on 3 goals. He said, "You still had it all school." So kind of pick up on each other a little bit. I said, right time to turn it on tonight. So, we're good friends, but keep competitive edge on it. And, he's been in the league for 10 years, and this is our 10-11 season. And this is what we need in the country here to promote the game of soccer. People like that, lovers of the soccer game. And example, same as most of our guys, the guys from Rhode Island Stingrays. All our guys, we did the camps all day. We had locations in Williston, Bristol, Hardwick, Danville, all our guys worked today all day. They came home, ate lunch, and came to the game. And that is what happened with the Rhode Island team. Same thing, and Mario and the guys, they worked the camps in Rhode Island, and then they drove 4 hours, played the game tonight. They're going tomorrow to Ottawa, and that is what it takes. So it's a lot of love for the soccer in these two teams, and even in our league and stuff, and that is what we need in order for this game to grow.
Bo, let's talk a little bit more about your personal playing career. I think you probably get some heckling or some comments from all your friends in the game every year that you continue to play, and obviously continue to play well. You've put 2 in the side netting from 22 yards out on set plays in the last 2 games, scoring a hat trick. And tonight, to be honest, it doesn't look like you've slowed much in the last 3 years, but what's your take on your career, and how much longer can you last, do you think?
As long as I have desire to go on training and train, that is how long I'm going to be competing. I still love every minute of it. I cannot wait for the summer to come, April 15, May 1st, start training with the guys, get on the field. The older we get, I'm right now, actually my birthday was a couple of days ago, 37. I just like to compete. I like that competitive edge, and as long as I can, I can compete with these guys and show them that I can still have a little bit gas in it, I will try to play and show that passion to the younger guys and enthusiasm and love for the game. So I'm hoping if I can stay healthy, no problems, play again next year and keep it going until there is no gas in those legs, I guess.
Well, I have to tell you, from where Scott and I sit up here in the booth, what you're able to accomplish is still very impressive, and we haven't seen any slowing down here in the last couple of years. So
Jamie,
it's
my
great
head
to
will
see.
explode with those comments.
Well, that's
Not
true,
gonna be able
but
to play next game.
we will be meeting later at Miguel's, and you will owe me for that. But,
Okay. But thank you guys. You're doing a great job, and one more time, thanks to all our fans and all the sponsors and businesses who keep us going. And as I said, these guys, they were this past weekend also doing appearances in downtown and in Taylor Park, presentations for kids, and you can see Sparky with the little kids there on the rain, and that is what it's all about. It's about younger generation players and our fans. So thank you guys.
You're welcome, and by no means is this the last game of the season. Lots of home games left.
Exactly.
So we have a whole month of soccer in August, as well as finishing out the end of July here.
And there you hear it from the Big Cheese himself. Let's get back to this game here. We still have 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. It is 5-1 in favor of the Voltage.
Well, while we were talking to Cheese, there was a red card issued to the Rhode Island Stingray. Not really sure what that was for. We'll try to check as when the Big Cheese makes his way up to the booth in the middle of the game. He's certainly going to talk to him and hear his words of wisdom. And it was great to hear, and it's someone that's so enthusiastic, really, for soccer in the United States.
Tommy Skipiorski dribbling a bit too much as the referee calls a foul going the other way. And Rhode Island is trying to salvage one more goal before the full 90 is played.
Yeah, Jamie, I did get some clarification. The red card was for dissent on the side of the Stingray, and as we talked about, we did predict that there was going to be a little bit of chippiness after giving up 5 straight goals and beginning your road trip by getting hammered here. So a little bit of frustration. That's going to happen in the game of soccer. But cooler heads have prevailed, and both teams are working hard as this game finishes out. The Big Cheese everywhere, scores 3 goals, has a long conversation with the opposing coach during the game. We turn around and he's in the booth. Where's he going to be next? Sounds like Miguel's, though. It would be a safe bet for after the game.
I bet he'll be there and spreading the gospel of soccer as he does every day of his life. So
Miguel's, of course, here in St. Albans, a traditional meeting spot for players, fans alike, that restaurant.
one of the strong supporters and sponsors of Vermont Voltage. And as you see the signs around the field here at Collins Pearly Sports Complex, these are all local businesses that spend their money sponsoring the Voltage, that helps the Voltage stay in business. Without their support, the Voltage would not exist. So please support those that support us. Keep the Voltage in St. Albans and a healthy business.
And this one's going to wrap up. It is in stoppage time. And usually in this type of game, you're not going to see a lot of stoppage time being called by the official. Certainly the game's been in the Vulture's favor really since the beginning of the second half. But maybe time for one more.
Kabul gets it from Stedman. Rhode Island, 3 players offside, just taking their time getting back on.
Playing with a lot of pride out there.
Ben Wells applying pressure. Stedman making a wise decision to pull it back and slow it down. Williams in the middle of the field with a nice through ball to Skipiorski. Can he get it? He just misses the post with the outside of his right foot.
Skipiorski played that wide. Great opportunity. Skipiorski, of course, playing it here at Colchester High School, then went on to Wake Forest University and has continued his career here with the Voltage as well as a stint overseas. And the one thing, as we've talked about in the past with Skipiorski, is you're going to see 100% effort from the starting whistle until the game is called. And that was just another example. Even though we're in stoppage time, you're up 5-1. You'd never know it by watching Tommy Skipiorski.
Van Mater winning another header. I think.
Well, what's up next for the Voltage?
The Voltage play on Wednesday the 25th. They play against the Albany Admirals, a makeup game for that rainout that we had here in St. Albans 2 Wednesdays ago, I think. So that's, I think, the next home game for the Vermont Voltage. But you can always check www.vermontvoltage.com to get the latest in camp news, game schedules, and appearances that the Voltage players are making throughout Vermont.
Well, the Voltage are keeping this long home winning streak alive, and they will try to continue that against the Albany Admirals on Wednesday night. Great opportunity to come out to the game. This a free kick in a dangerous area. Steve Hennessy will have to shake off the cobwebs. Well, he won't have to. The ball didn't get through. I can tell you the Vermont Voltage wall, other than on that first free kick, has been very effective. I don't think Hennessy's made maybe, 2 saves today, Jamie?
He's compared to some of the previous games he's played here where he's been getting shelled and playing just incredibly. Tonight he's had very little action.
And I'm sure he's a little bit disappointed with only 2 saves tonight. He may not be the leading keeper with number of saves in the PDL, which he has been up to date.
I'm pretty sure that he would prefer the 5-1 win over getting shelled as he has in some of the previous games. So.
Well, he certainly kept the Voltage in games when they needed him to, so a little payback here.
Yeah, it's nice for him to be able to sort of take a night off and have an easy game. Get out of a game with no bumps and bruises.
Hell, he might not even need a shower after tonight's game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Vučković down, you'll see him in the sideline in the black warm-up drinking a Pepsi. Of course, Pepsi, one of the sponsors of the Voltage. It's rare the Cheese has the opportunity to relax as much as he has tonight.
Yankovic on the far side plays it up to Kabul. And there's the game. Van Mater trying to sneak one in there at the very end. That will not count.
That was a no mercy by the official. Normally in those situations they let him play on, but 5-1 I guess he thought was bad enough. And a great win by the Voltage tonight.
Yeah, it was an entertaining game, and Voltage certainly firing on all cylinders tonight. So there you have it, Vermont Voltage 5, the Rhode Island Stingrays 1. Thanks for watching, and tune in to the next game. VermontVoltage.com. Thanks very much.